Yeah, it's crazy. They just reached out to me over Instagram, just slid into my DMs, and I guess it was something that, of course, like I wanted to do straight away. It was their marketing team that they'd partnered up with, and then we just looked over the deliverables, and I was like, for sure, like either way, I would love to get on board with this. I gave them my fee, and there we go. Like it's just some of the kind of new options, I guess, especially with this new world. We need to collaborate more on social media and get that kind of virtual connection a little bit more, especially considering the retelling was all premiered on Disney Plus instead of as the original plan was to be in cinemas. So yeah, it was really good for me. Yeah, I mean, I think possibly it's one of those divisions where it's kind of hard to see a clear number one contender, but that would be a fantastic matchup and a fantastic fight. I think it would be a close one. I mean, I really enjoyed Kat Zingano's last performance. She showed a lot of maturity and a lot of experience. So for that reason, I mean, she could change it up and possibly get the win over someone like Chris.
Steve?
Hi, Janay. Thank you for the time. I've got two questions for you today. The
Sure.
first is, how do you feel about being in the United States for this fight right now when everything is so tense politically and with the election?
I know, it was super crazy. It was really only until like Friday that I realized that I would be here for the election. It hadn't even crossed my mind. And then now that I've got my other corner, Mallory, here, and she's also kind of, I guess, expressing like the intensity of the election, and then even the fact that her hometown Denver, they're starting to board up some shops and stuff. I'm really starting to understand the credibility of what kind of time it is right now, and it's crazy. I mean, like in Oz, we try keep like pay attention to the election over here because what happens over here does affect us. But at the same time, all I watched was like the first debate, and then now I have no idea what's going on in a sense, and I've just been concentrating on this fight. It'll be super interesting come Tuesday how everything goes and what goes down.
And do you feel like your fight here with Jessy Miele is a good distraction for people?
I hope so. I really hope everyone's kind of, paying attention to what's good in the world, sports especially. We had a good card last Thursday and we have another one this Thursday. So I'm hoping you guys kind of tune in and guess take your mind off the negatives in the world at the moment.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Donna?
Hi, Janay. How's it going?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Great to hear from you. Your fight with Leah McCourt was one of the first casualties of the whole coronavirus pandemic. You know, it was one of those things where maybe something was going to be worked out by May, evidently not even close. Now you're fighting Jessy Miele. Do you think that fight with Leah McCourt is ever going to happen? And are you hoping to get that fight?
100%. And I know that in interviews, she's also said that she would love to honor it. So I think it's something that after she comes back from her surgery, we can definitely figure out a date that best suits the both of us and hopefully also a location. I guess with everything at the moment, it's kind of hard to figure out. I really don't think the UK will be an option. And after, I guess, the Italy and France, she may have to come over to the States and I'll meet her here. But whatever we can do, I know that we're both keen for that matchup. So if we can, hopefully early 2021, that'll be awesome.
I'm not super clued in with all of the political goings on in Australia, but I do understand that air travel is not exactly the easiest thing to come by. Getting from Sydney or from particularly Victoria to the States, not so easy. Can you talk us through how exactly you were able to get to Mohegan Sun for this fight?
Yeah, I mean, East Coast especially. I mean, I much prefer fighting on the West Coast. It's a little bit of a shorter leg, but I have fought the Mexican Sun before, so I kind of it was Sydney to LA, LA to Boston, and then we had to drive down 2 hours. So it was a little bit of travel. I mean, all up from the point that I left my house to the point that I walked into my hotel room, it was about 31 hours. So obviously that kind of puts me behind, but at the same time, this is my fifth time fighting in the States. I'm almost used to it. I kind of know the tricks of the trade. I'm pretty well traveled in general, living in the UK and living in Asia a little bit as well. So I kind of know what to expect, and I just sort of take it with the gig. It is what it is. It's part of fight week now, and we just get it done.
It's been a pretty crazy time in Australia. I understand that different parts of the country have more severe lockdowns than others. What have your family and stuff been making of that? And were they in any way concerned about you getting on a plane, going to America, where there's a huge amount of cases? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, like they almost stressed more than I did. Like I was just like, I just want to fight. Like I don't really care where it is, and if like the whole place is ridden with COVID, I'll figure it out. But of course, like once I got over here, I really understood the substantial difference between Australia and the US in the way of cases. I mean, I was coming from Sydney. I think when I left, there was only like 2 cases in all of our state, let alone coming over here and just knowing how much more prominent it is. It's sort of just like, I guess like, and the really average thing is that I'm from Queensland. I'm currently in New South Wales. So unfortunately, the Queensland borders were closed for so long, so I couldn't even see my mom. I haven't seen her in maybe like 6 months or so, just because I haven't been able to pay for like quarantining in both areas and spending a month of my life in hotel rooms. So of course she's been concerned, and then I guess it's heightened because we haven't been able to see each other. So I'm just hoping that, yeah, once I come back, we also have our elections going on at the moment. Things may change. It's kind of at that point where we're really lowering our COVID cases. So by the time I come back, I'll be able to go home and see my mom and see my family and kind of, I guess, de-stress them from all my traveling and what I do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, last question goes to Lenny.
Hello, Janay. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for asking. So you've been bouncing back from boxing and MMA. Which career are you most invested in?
100% MMA. I've let boxing go now, and I knew that as much as it was improving my striking, it was also sort of taking away my attention from the things in MMA that I needed to work on the most. So yeah, so now it's all MMA, and I'm really focusing on getting that belt.
Yeah, so well, we have that said. Your last fight was a boxing fight, and that was almost a year ago. Was it with the year away? What have you kind of learned why you haven't been able to compete?
Well, I've been super lucky. As much as COVID kind of hit at the start, of course, it changed the training regime up a little bit. And then the other thing is, I mean, it closed some of my gyms that I used to go to. So I ended up changing gyms. But all in all, it was for the positive. I'm now working with a really solid team. Everyone's super consistent. The facilities at my new gym, King's Academy, are really, really good. So it's almost been a blessing in disguise in a sense. And I've started working on those things that I was neglecting and I needed to work on. So now I feel like I've definitely fallen everything into place, from working on that boxing to now adding in the wrestling and jiu-jitsu a little bit more and kind of being a little bit more of a well-rounded fighter.